The galaxy was vast, a sprawling expanse of stars, planets, and civilizations that had thrived for millennia. Among these countless worlds, humanity had always been considered an afterthought, a backward species clinging to a small blue planet at the edge of nowhere. For centuries, Earth had gone unnoticed by the interstellar empires, dismissed as irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. But all of that changed on a quiet day when something extraordinary happened. It began with whispers among the traders and explorers who roamed the outer rim of the galaxy. A massive object had appeared near the Zorathian cluster, drifting silently through space like a ghostly spectre. At first, no one paid much attention. Anomalies were common in deep space. But as more ships approached to investigate, they realized this wasn't just another asteroid or derelict vessel. It was a ship, unlike anything anyone had ever seen. The craft was enormous, easily dwarfing even the largest dreadnoughts used by the Kreel Empire, one of the most powerful forces in the galaxy. Its surface shimmered with an iridescent glow, reflecting light in ways that defied explanation. Sleek lines ran along its hull, giving it an almost organic appearance, despite its clearly artificial design. Weapons turrets bristled from every side, each one pulsing faintly with energy that hinted at unimaginable power. Yet what truly unnerved those who saw it was the silence. There were no transmissions, no attempts at communication, just the steady hum of its engines as it drifted closer to inhabited systems. Word spread quickly across the galaxy. News channels broadcast images of the mysterious ship, sparking panic and speculation alike. Some believed it belonged to an ancient civilization long thought extinct. Others whispered about rogue AI or alien invaders preparing to conquer the galaxy. But then came the reports linking it to humanity. Centuries ago, humans had ventured into space only briefly before retreating back to their homeworld. Their technology had been laughably primitive compared to the advanced races dominating the stars. How could such a primitive species have built something so awe-inspiring? And why now? Captain Ilara Voss stood on the bridge of the Eos, her heart pounding as she gazed out at the view screen. She'd spent years training for this moment, but nothing could have prepared her for the reality of commanding humanity's greatest achievement. The Eos wasn't just a battleship, it was a symbol of hope, resilience, and defiance. Every inch of its design represented decades of effort by scientists, engineers, and dreamers who refused to let humanity fade into obscurity. Ilara turned to her crew, a diverse group of men and women united by a shared purpose. They weren't soldiers or warriors in the traditional sense. They were explorers, thinkers, and builders. Yet here they were, tasked with representing Earth on the galactic stage. "We've trained for this," she said firmly, her voice cutting through the tension. "Whatever happens next, we face it together." Outside, the stars twinkled against the endless blackness of space. The Eos continued its silent journey, drawing closer to the heart of the galaxy, where countless eyes watched and waited. Fear rippled through the cosmos, not because of what the Eos might do, but because of what it represented. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same again. As the ship moved forward, Ilara couldn't help but wonder. Would they find allies among the stars, or would fear drive others to oppose them? One thing was certain: the arrival of the Eos marked the beginning of a new chapter for humanity. Whether it ended in triumph or tragedy remained to be seen. The Eos continued its steady advance into the galaxy, a silent titan cutting through the void. Its presence was felt long before it reached the core systems, where the most powerful civilizations held their sway. News of humanity's arrival had spread like wildfire, igniting debates and fears across countless worlds. Some saw the ship as a harbinger of doom, while others hoped it might bring fresh ideas or even alliances to the fractured political landscape. But no one could ignore the sheer scale of what humanity had achieved. Captain Ilara Voss knew that the next step would define not only her crew's mission, but also humanity's future among the stars. Communication was key. If they were to avoid conflict and establish goodwill, they needed to make contact with the galactic powers. Yet every attempt so far had been met with silence or hostility. It seemed that fear and perhaps arrogance, kept others from responding. That changed when the Eos entered the orbit of Zorath Prime, the capital planet of the Zorathian Union, one of the oldest and most influential civilizations in the galaxy. Zorathians were known for their sharp intellect and diplomatic prowess. They prided themselves on maintaining peace within their territory, though whispers suggested their methods weren't always peaceful. As the Eos approached, dozens of sleek patrol ships surrounded it, their weapons locked onto the massive human vessel. Despite the show of force, there was no attack, only a single transmission crackling over the comms. "This is Chancellor Kalis of the Zorathian Union," came a calm, measured voice. "Identify yourselves and state your purpose." Ilara took a deep breath before stepping up to the console. This was humanity's first official interaction with an alien civilization, and she couldn't afford to make a mistake. She activated the transmitter, ensuring her tone was firm yet respectful. "This is Captain Ilara Voss of the Human Federation. Starship Eos. We come in peace, seeking dialogue and understanding." For a moment there was nothing but static. Then Chancellor Kalis replied, his voice tinged with skepticism. "Humanity, you are aware you have trespassed into sovereign space without permission?" Ilara nodded to herself, knowing this moment required finesse. "We did not intend disrespect," she said carefully. "Our arrival marks a new chapter for our species. We wish to learn from the civilizations of this galaxy, and perhaps contribute to its prosperity." The Chancellor paused again, and Ilara could almost feel the weight of his thoughts pressing down on them. Finally, he spoke. "Very well. Dock. At Station Gamma 7. A delegation will meet you there, be warned. If your intentions prove false, we will respond accordingly." As the transmission ended, the tension on the bridge eased slightly, though caution remained etched on everyone's faces. Lieutenant Rylan Carter, the ship's communications officer, glanced at Ilara. "Do you think they'll actually listen to us?" "They don't have a choice," Ilara replied softly. "We've shown them we're here and we're not going anywhere. Now it's up to us to prove we belong." Hours later, the Eos docked at Station Gamma 7, a sprawling orbital platform, bustling with activity. Through the viewports, the crew marveled at the sight of alien vessels and beings moving about, each one representing a culture vastly different from their own. For many aboard the Eos, this was their first glimpse of extraterrestrial life, and the experience filled them with both wonder and unease. A small team led by Ilara disembarked, stepping onto the station for the first time. They wore simple uniforms, bearing Earth's emblem, a blue circle encircling a golden sunburst, symbolizing unity and hope. Behind them loomed the imposing silhouette of the Eos, a reminder of humanity's determination. Waiting for them was Chancellor Kalis himself, flanked by several advisors and guards. Tall and slender, with shimmering silver skin and piercing violet eyes, the Zorathian leader exuded authority. He studied the humans intently, his expression unreadable. "Captain Voss," he said, inclining his head slightly. "Welcome to Zorath Prime. Tell me, why has humanity chosen now to reveal itself?" Ilara stepped forward, meeting his gaze. Without hesitation. "For centuries we watched the stars, dreaming of the day we could join you. We built the Eos not as a weapon, but as a bridge, to connect with others, to share knowledge, and to grow together." Kalis raised an eyebrow. "And yet your ship carries weapons capable of destroying entire fleets. Hardly the act of a peaceful people." "It's a dangerous universe," Ilara countered. "We came prepared to defend ourselves if necessary, but defense is not our goal. Our goal is coexistence." The Chancellor studied her for a long moment before nodding slowly. "Your words carry weight, Captain. However, actions speak louder than words. Prove yourselves trustworthy, and perhaps we can find common ground." With that, the meeting adjourned, leaving Ilara and her team to process what had just happened. They hadn't been rejected outright, but neither had they been fully accepted. The road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but Ilara felt a flicker of hope. Humanity had taken its first step into the galactic community, and despite the doubts and fears surrounding them, they were determined to leave a lasting impression. Back on the Eos, the crew gathered in the mess hall, buzzing with excitement and apprehension. They had made contact. Now came the hard part, earning the trust of a galaxy that didn't yet know whether to fear or embrace them. The days following the meeting with Chancellor Kalis were a whirlwind of activity aboard the Eos. While humanity had been granted permission to remain in Zorathian space, it was clear that their presence was being closely monitored. Every move they made was scrutinized, not just by the Zorathians but also by other factions within the galaxy who had taken notice of their arrival. Rumors swirled about the purpose of the Eos, ranging from conspiracy theories about Earth's supposed conquest plans to wild speculation that the ship harbored ancient secrets stolen from forgotten civilizations. Captain Ilara Voss knew better than to let these rumors distract her or her crew. Their mission wasn't just about survival, it was about proving humanity's worth. But trust couldn't be earned overnight, especially in a galaxy rife with suspicion and political intrigue. To demonstrate their sincerity, Ilara proposed a gesture of goodwill, sharing one of humanity's most advanced technologies with the Zorathian Union. It was a risky move. Revealing too much could leave Earth vulnerable, but doing nothing would only deepen the mistrust. The technology in question was something called the Quantum Resonance Engine, QRE, a revolutionary propulsion system that allowed the Eos to travel vast distances in record time without relying on traditional hyperspace routes. Developed in secret over decades, the QRE represented humanity's greatest leap forward and its most closely guarded secret. Sharing it meant taking a significant risk, but Ilara believed it was necessary. If they wanted allies, they needed to give something meaningful. When the delegation returned to Station Gamma 7 for a follow-up meeting, they brought along Dr. Mira Chen, the lead scientist behind the QRE. She stood beside Ilara as they addressed Chancellor Kalis and his advisors. In a sleek conference room aboard the station, holographic displays flickered around them, showcasing diagrams and simulations of how the engine worked. "This is the Quantum Resonance Engine," Ilara began, gesturing toward the hologram. "It allows us to traverse interstellar distances, faster and more efficiently than any known method. We're offering to share this technology with you as a sign of our commitment to peaceful cooperation." A murmur rippled through the room. Even the stoic Chancellor Kalis seemed intrigued, though he masked it well. "An impressive claim," he said after a moment, "but why would you share such a valuable asset so freely?" "Because we believe in collaboration," Ilara replied firmly. "We don't seek dominance, we seek partnership. By working together, we can achieve things none of us could accomplish alone." Kalis leaned back in his chair, studying them intently. "You understand that sharing this technology will make you vulnerable. Other factions may see it as an opportunity to exploit your weaknesses." Ilara nodded. "We're aware of the risks, but isolation has never served anyone well. Humanity wants to take its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as contributors." The Chancellor exchanged glances with his advisors before turning back to Ilara. "Very well. We accept your offer, but know this. If your intentions prove false, the consequences will be severe." Back on the Eos, the mood was a mix of relief and tension. The crew celebrated the fact that their gesture had been accepted, but there were lingering concerns. Lieutenant Ryland Carter voiced what many were thinking during a briefing in the command center. "What happens if someone steals the tech and uses it against us? Or worse, what if the Zorathians decide they don't need us anymore once they have it?" "They won't," Ilara said confidently. "This isn't just about giving them tools, it's about building relationships. If we play our cards right, they'll see the value in having humanity as an ally." Dr. Chen chimed in, her voice calm but resolute. "Besides, the QRE is complex. Without proper training and support, it's useless. They'll need us to fully utilize it." Despite their optimism, challenges soon arose. News of the QRE spread quickly, drawing attention from other galactic powers, including some less friendly than the Zorathians. One faction, the Krill Empire, sent a thinly veiled threat through diplomatic channels, demanding access to the technology under the guise of maintaining balance in the galaxy. Ilara refused, knowing that bowing to intimidation would undermine everything they'd worked for. Meanwhile, tensions aboard the Eos began to mount. Some crew members questioned whether sharing the QRE had been wise, while others argued that humanity should assert itself more forcefully. Ilara found herself caught between these differing viewpoints, struggling to maintain unity among her team. One evening, she stood alone on the observation deck, staring out at the endless expanse of stars. The weight of leadership pressed heavily on her shoulders, but she reminded herself why they had come here: to forge a new path for humanity, no matter how difficult it might be. As the galaxy watched and waited, the EOS prepared for its next step. They had proven their willingness to cooperate, but now came the true test, earning the respect of a universe that still doubted them. For Captain Ilara Voss and her crew, the journey was far from over. The decision to share humanity's quantum resonance engine, QRE, with the Zorathian Union had been bold, but it came with consequences neither Ilara nor her crew could have fully anticipated. While the gesture earned them cautious respect from the Zorathians, it also drew unwanted attention from more aggressive factions in the galaxy, none more dangerous than the Krill Empire. The Krill were a militaristic civilization, known for their ruthless expansion and disdain for diplomacy. Their empire spanned dozens of star systems, maintained through brute force and intimidation. They viewed weaker species as either subjects to conquer or resources to exploit. When news of the QRE reached them, they saw not an opportunity for collaboration, but a threat to their dominance and a chance to seize power. It began subtly at first. A series of encrypted messages arrived on the EOS, each one carrying veiled threats disguised as requests for access to the technology. The Krill claimed that withholding such advancements disrupted the balance of power in the galaxy. But Ilara recognized the tone for what it was: coercion wrapped in diplomatic language. She ignored the messages, refusing to engage directly. However, ignoring the Krill only emboldened them further. One day, while the EOS orbited near Station Gamma 7, alarms blared across the ship. Sensors detected multiple unidentified vessels approaching at high speed. Moments later, the viewports revealed the unmistakable sight of Krill warships, sleek, menacing vessels armed to the teeth with plasma cannons and missile arrays. Their formation was deliberate, surrounding the EOS like predators circling prey. Captain Ilara Voss strode onto the bridge, her expression calm despite the tension crackling in the air. "Status report," she demanded, her voice steady. Lieutenant Ryland Carter glanced up from his console. 12 Krill cruisers, Captain. They're hailing us." "Put them on screen," Ilara ordered. The face of a Krill commander appeared, a towering figure with jagged armor and glowing red eyes. His voice boomed over the comms, dripping with arrogance. "This is Commander Vrax of the Krill Empire. You have something we want, humans. Surrender your technology, and we may allow you to leave unharmed." Ilara crossed her arms, meeting his gaze without flinching. "We are guests of the Zorathian Union. Your presence here is unwelcome and hostile. Leave immediately, or there will be consequences." Vrax chuckled darkly. "You misunderstand your position, human. You are outnumbered and outgunned. Do not test our patience." The transmission cut off, leaving the bridge in tense silence. The crew exchanged worried glances, knowing that the odds were stacked against them. 12 Krill warships versus 1 human battleship. It didn't look promising. But Ilara refused to show fear. She turned to her tactical officer, Lieutenant Kara Solis. "Prepare defensive measures. Activate all shields and arm the plasma turrets. We won't fire unless fired upon, but we won't back down either." Kara nodded, her fingers flying over the controls. Within moments, the EOS hummed with energy as its defenses came online. The massive ship bristled with readiness, every weapon system primed for action. Meanwhile, Dr. Mira Chen approached Ilara cautiously. "Captain, if they attack, we can't win this fight. Even with the QRE, we're no match for their numbers." "We don't need to win," Ilara replied firmly. "We just need to hold out long enough for reinforcements, or for them to realize we're not easy targets." As the standoff continued, the Krill grew impatient. One of their cruisers fired a warning shot, sending a bolt of plasma streaking past the EOS. The impact shook the ship slightly, but the shields held firm. The crew cheered quietly, bolstered by the knowledge that their defenses were holding. But the real turning point came when Chancellor Kalis intervened. Unwilling to let the Krill disrupt the fragile peace in his territory, he dispatched a squadron of Zorathian patrol ships to assist the Eos. When the Krill saw the combined forces arrayed against them, they hesitated. After a tense exchange of threats and warnings, Vrax begrudgingly ordered his fleet to withdraw. As the Krill ships disappeared into the void, the crew of the Eos breathed a collective sigh of relief. They had survived their first true test in the galactic arena, but the encounter left them shaken. The galaxy was far more dangerous than they had imagined, and the road ahead would be fraught with challenges. Ilara stood silently on the observation deck later that night, staring out at the stars. The Krill hadn't succeeded in taking the QRE, but they had sent a clear message. Humanity's arrival wouldn't go unchallenged. For now, though, the Eos had proven that it wouldn't back down. Not to threats, not to intimidation, and certainly not to fear. The galaxy had learned something important about humanity that day. They might be newcomers, but they weren't weak, and they wouldn't be pushed around. The standoff with the Krill Empire had been a harrowing experience, but it also served as a turning point for humanity's place in the galaxy. The crew of the Eos returned to their mission with renewed determination, knowing that every decision they made would shape how others viewed Earth. While the Krill had retreated, for now, their threat lingered like a shadow over everything. The humans did, but amidst the tension an unexpected opportunity arose. Chancellor Kalis of the Zorathian Union called for another meeting aboard Station Gamma 7. This time, however, he wasn't alone. Accompanying him were representatives from two other major factions: the Lumina Collective, a peaceful coalition of scientists and explorers dedicated to advancing knowledge, and the Velari Syndicate, a trade-based alliance known for its vast economic influence. Both groups had taken notice of humanity's actions during the Krill confrontation and wanted to learn more. Ilara led her delegation into the conference room, where holographic displays flickered above a circular table. She could feel the weight of scrutiny from all sides, some curious, some skeptical, but she held her head high. Humanity's survival depended on forging alliances, and this was their chance to prove they weren't just survivors. They were contributors. "Captain Voss," Chancellor Kalis began, his tone measured yet respectful. "Your recent encounter with the Krill has raised questions among our peoples. Some see your defiance as reckless, while others view it as courageous. Regardless, one thing is clear. Humanity cannot face the challenges of the galaxy alone." Ilara nodded, understanding the unspoken implication. "We don't claim to have all the answers," she said, "but we believe in strength through unity. If given the chance, we can offer something unique to this galaxy. Not just technology, but perspective. We've spent centuries learning from our mistakes, striving to build a better future. Perhaps that's something worth sharing." Her words resonated with the representatives, particularly those from the Lumina Collective. Their leader, Ambassador Lyraean, a being composed of shimmering light and energy, spoke next. "Humanity's willingness to share the quantum resonance engine demonstrates a spirit of cooperation we rarely see. My people are eager to explore potential collaborations, especially in fields like energy research and sustainable development." The Velari representative, a grizzled trader named Soren, Tavik leaned forward, his sharp eyes narrowing. "And what about trade? Your species must have resources or innovations beyond the QRE. Commerce drives progress, Captain. Are you willing to open your markets?" Ilara hesitated only briefly before responding. "Earth has much to offer and much to gain. Trade is essential for mutual growth, but we'll proceed carefully. Our priority is ensuring fairness and respect for all parties involved." Soren smirked, seemingly satisfied with her answer. It was clear that the Velari saw opportunity in humanity's presence, and Ilara knew navigating such relationships would require diplomacy and vigilance. As the discussions continued, Chancellor Kalis proposed a formal alliance between humanity and the three factions. "Together we could form a coalition capable of countering threats like the Krill," he suggested. "But such an alliance requires trust and proof that humanity is committed to peace." To demonstrate their sincerity, Ilara offered another gesture, a joint mission to explore an uncharted region of space, rumored to contain valuable resources and ancient ruins. The proposal sparked excitement among the delegates. For the Lumina Collective, it represented a chance to uncover lost knowledge. For the Velari, it promised lucrative opportunities. And for the Zorathians, it was a way to test humanity's capabilities firsthand. When the meeting concluded, Ilara felt a mix of hope and apprehension. They had taken a significant step toward building bridges, but the road ahead remained uncertain. Back on the EOS, she gathered her senior officers to discuss the upcoming mission. "This is our chance to show them who we really are," Ilara said, pacing the briefing room. "Not just as warriors or diplomats, but as explorers. If we succeed, we'll solidify our place in the galaxy. If we fail—" She trailed off, letting the implication hang in the air. Lieutenant Rylan Carter frowned. "What if the Krill find out? They won't take kindly to us forming alliances." "They already—" "No, we're here," Ilara replied firmly. "Our best defense is making sure we're not isolated. The stronger our bonds with others, the harder it will be for the Krill to divide us." Dr. Mira Chen chimed in, her voice filled with quiet resolve. "Let's focus on what we can control. If we approach this mission with integrity and purpose, we'll earn their respect." Preparations for the joint expedition began immediately. Supplies were loaded onto the EOS, and additional personnel from the Zorathian, Lumina, and Velari delegations arrived to join the crew. As the ship prepared to depart, Ilara stood on the observation deck once more, gazing at the stars. Each twinkle seemed to carry a new possibility, a reminder that humanity's journey was far from over. For the first time since leaving Earth, she allowed herself to feel a glimmer of optimism. The galaxy was vast, complex, and often hostile, but it was also full of potential. Humanity had planted the seeds of alliance. Now it was up to them to nurture those connections and ensure they grew strong enough to withstand whatever storms lay ahead. The EOS embarked on its joint mission with a sense of cautious optimism. Alongside representatives from the Zorathian Union, the Lumina Collective, and the Velari Syndicate, humanity ventured into an uncharted region of space known as the Veil Expanse, a mysterious area shrouded in swirling nebulae and dense asteroid fields. Legends whispered of ancient ruins hidden within its depths, remnants of a long-lost civilization, rumored to possess knowledge and technology far beyond anything currently understood. Captain Ilara Voss stood on the bridge, overseeing operations. As the ship navigated through the treacherous terrain, the crew worked seamlessly alongside their new allies, each faction contributing unique skills and insights. The Zorathians provided advanced scanning equipment capable of penetrating the thick clouds of cosmic dust. The Lumina Collective shared their expertise in deciphering alien languages and symbols, while the Velari brought resourcefulness and adaptability honed by centuries of interstellar trade. Despite the collaborative spirit, tensions simmered beneath the surface. Some aboard the EOS still harbored doubts about trusting outsiders, especially after the Krill confrontation. Others worried that exposing humanity's vulnerabilities too soon could backfire. But Ilara remained steadfast in her belief that this mission was not just about exploration, it was about proving humanity's value as a partner. As they delved deeper into the Veil Expanse, strange phenomena began to occur. Sensors picked up faint energy signatures emanating from a nearby moon, its surface covered in jagged crystalline formations that glowed faintly under the light of a distant star. Ambassador Lyrian of the Lumina Collective studied the readings intently, her luminous form flickering with excitement. "This is extraordinary," she said, her voice echoing softly. "These patterns resemble no known power source. It's possible we've found traces of the lost civilization." Ilara turned to her tactical officer, Lieutenant Kara Solis. "Prepare a landing party. We'll investigate further." The team assembled quickly. Ilara herself led the group, accompanied by Dr. Mira Chen, Lieutenant Rylan Carter, and several members from each faction. As their shuttle descended onto the moon's surface, the air crackled with anticipation. The landscape was eerily beautiful, with towering crystal spires stretching toward the sky like frozen lightning bolts. Strange glyphs etched into the ground seemed to pulse faintly, as though alive. Dr. Chen knelt beside one of the markings, running a scanner over it. "These symbols are unlike anything I've seen before," she murmured. "They might be some kind of language, or maybe even a warning." Before anyone could respond, the ground trembled slightly. A low hum filled the air, growing louder until it became almost deafening. Suddenly, the crystals around them lit up in a cascade of colors, forming intricate patterns that danced across the horizon. Then, without warning, a massive structure emerged from beneath the surface, a sprawling temple-like edifice made entirely of the glowing crystal material. Ambassador Lyrian approached cautiously, her light form shimmering with awe. This is incredible. If these ruins belong to the ancient civilization, then what we uncover here could change everything." But the discovery came with challenges. As they explored the interior of the structure, they encountered traps designed to deter intruders. Narrow corridors lined with sharp protrusions forced them to move carefully, while holographic projections depicted scenes of destruction. Perhaps warnings left behind by the builders. The team relied on teamwork and ingenuity to navigate the dangers, with each member playing a crucial role. At one point, a section of the floor collapsed beneath Lieutenant Carter, sending him plummeting into a dark chamber below. Ilara and the HFY others rushed to his aid, using grappling hooks and cables to pull him to safety. When he finally climbed back up, shaken but unharmed, he gave a shaky laugh. "Guess I should have watched where I was stepping." Amidst the tension, moments of camaraderie began to emerge. The shared danger forged bonds between humans and their alien counterparts, breaking down barriers that had once seemed insurmountable. Even Soren Tavik, the pragmatic Velari trader, admitted grudgingly, "You humans aren't half bad when it comes to getting things done." By the time they reached the heart of the ruins, they discovered a central chamber housing a spherical artifact suspended in mid-air. It pulsed with energy, emitting waves of warmth and light. Ambassador Lyrian approached it reverently, her form resonating with the object's glow. "This is a repository of knowledge," she whispered. "If we can unlock it, we may gain access to secrets that could benefit the entire galaxy." But unlocking the artifact wouldn't be easy. Its mechanisms were complex, requiring input from multiple disciplines. Dr. Chen worked tirelessly alongside the Lumina scientists, deciphering the intricate patterns and sequences needed to activate it. Meanwhile, Ilara coordinated with the Zorathians to ensure their security systems remained intact, wary of potential threats lurking in the shadows. Hours passed, and frustration mounted as progress stalled. Just when hope began to wane, the artifact suddenly flared brightly, projecting a holographic map of the galaxy onto the walls. Ancient star charts overlaid with cryptic symbols illuminated pathways to undiscovered worlds and resources. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed the magnitude of what they had uncovered. Humanity had proven itself capable of rising to the occasion, not through force but through collaboration and perseverance. For the first time, Ilara felt a profound sense of pride, not just for her crew, but for all of humanity. The journey ahead would still be fraught with challenges, but one thing was certain. The galaxy now knew that humanity wasn't just another fleeting presence among the stars. They were here to stay, and they had much to offer. The discovery of the ancient artifact in the Veil Expanse marked a turning point not only for humanity, but for the galaxy itself. The holographic map projected by the glowing sphere revealed star systems rich with resources, unexplored worlds teeming with potential, and pathways to regions previously thought unreachable. More importantly, it contained fragments of knowledge that hinted at advanced technologies capable of solving some of the galaxy's most pressing problems: energy shortages, environmental decay, and even interstellar conflict. Captain Ilara Voss stood in the central chamber of the crystalline ruins, her heart swelling with pride as she watched her crew and their newfound allies work together to document and analyze the artifact. For days, they studied its intricacies, piecing together clues left behind by the long-lost civilization. Each revelation brought them closer to understanding the true scope of what they had uncovered and how it could reshape the future. But the artifact wasn't just a treasure trove of information, it was also a symbol of unity. The joint effort required to unlock its secrets demonstrated that cooperation among species, once seen as an idealistic dream, was possible. humanity had taken its first steps toward becoming a respected member of the galactic community, earning trust through action rather than words. As the mission drew to a close, Chancellor Kalis addressed the assembled team via hologram from Station Gamma 7. His voice carried both gratitude and admiration. "What you have achieved here is remarkable," he said, his violet eyes glowing faintly. "Not only have you uncovered something of immense value, but you've shown us that humanity is ready to take its place among the stars, not as conquerors or opportunists, but as partners." Ambassador Liraean added her own praise, her light form shimmering warmly. "This discovery will benefit all of us. It proves that when we set aside our differences and work together, there is no challenge we cannot overcome." Even Soren Tavik, ever the pragmatist, nodded approvingly. "You humans may still be newcomers, but you've earned your seat at the table. Just don't let it go to your heads." Ilara smiled, feeling a mix of relief and accomplishment. She turned to her crew and the representatives from the other factions, raising her voice so everyone could hear. "We didn't come here seeking power or riches. We came because we wanted to learn, to grow and to contribute. This mission has shown me that the galaxy isn't just a collection of stars. It's a tapestry woven from countless cultures, histories and dreams, and now humanity is part of that tapestry." Back aboard the EOS, preparations were underway for their return journey. The ship hummed with activity as data collected from the artifact was carefully stored and analyzed. Dr. Mira Chen worked tirelessly alongside Lumina scientists, ensuring that every fragment of knowledge was preserved. Lieutenant Rylan Carter joked about writing a manual on how to survive alien ruins, while Lieutenant Kara Solis oversaw updates to the ship's defensive systems, mindful of the dangers still lurking in the galaxy. Yet despite the excitement, there was an undercurrent of reflection. The crew knew that their success in the Veil Expanse didn't mean the challenges were over. The Krill Empire remained a looming threat, and tensions between various factions showed no signs of easing, but instead of fear, Ilara felt resolve. Humanity had proven it could hold its ground, and more importantly, it could inspire others to do the same. On the final night before departing the Veil Expanse, Ilara stepped onto the observation deck one last time. The swirling nebulae and glowing crystals of the moon cast ethereal patterns across the viewport, painting the room in hues of blue and gold. She gazed out at the endless expanse of stars, her mind filled with thoughts of Earth, the small blue planet where humanity's story began. "We've come so far," she murmured to herself, "but this is only the beginning." Behind her, Lieutenant Carter approached quietly. "Thinking about home?" he asked. Ilara nodded. "Yeah. About where we started and where we're going. This mission has changed everything. Not just for us, but for everyone out there." She gestured toward the stars. "For centuries, humanity looked up at the sky and wondered if we'd ever belong. Now we know we do. It won't always be easy, but we've shown that we can make a difference." Carter grinned. "And maybe scare a few people along the way." Ilara chuckled softly. "Fear isn't always bad. Sometimes it's what makes others respect you." As the EOS departed the Veil Expanse, its course set for Zorath Prime, news of their discovery spread across the galaxy. Civilizations once wary of humanity now viewed them with cautious optimism. Trade routes opened, diplomatic channels strengthened, and whispers of collaboration replaced rumors of hostility. Even the Krill Empire seemed to tread more carefully, unsure of how to respond to a species that refused to bend. The journey ahead would be long and uncertain, but humanity had already achieved something extraordinary. They had planted their flag among the stars, not as conquerors, but as contributors. They had faced fear, doubt, and danger, and emerged stronger for it. And as the EOS sailed onward, carrying the hopes of billions, Captain Ilara Voss allowed herself a quiet moment of triumph. Humanity wasn't just surviving in the galaxy, they were thriving. Together, they had forged a new chapter in the story of the stars. And this time, humanity's battleship wasn't bringing fear. It was bringing hope.